we have some last folks coming in. Come on in, come on in. Thank you. Cool. How was lunch? It's good? Some bento? Very nice. Okay. Thank you all so much for coming. How many people were in the morning workshop here? Almost everybody. Excellent. Thank you. Welcome back. For people who did not attend the morning youth workshop, welcome. My name is Kota Mizutani. I was born and raised in California, and I just recently left the board of the Japanese American Citizens League, which is a Japanese American organization here. And when my involvement was leading the youth council, a youth group here.
Hi everyone, my name is Miki. I'm a Gosei 5th generation from Canada, and I'm currently director on the National Executive Board of the National Association of Japanese Canadians, and my portfolio is the Young Leaders Committee, so I'm the chair of the Young Leaders Committee in Canada, and this is my first COPANI, so it's nice to see everyone here.
So this is also my first COPANI. I've never been to COPANI before. I'm very, very excited to be here. This afternoon, we are going to kind of build, extend what we talked about this morning in this space. We talked about our identities, we talked about what makes us different, what we share, what we have in common. This afternoon, we're going to talk a little bit about that, but we're also going to extend into a discussion about what we're going to do about it. What are we going to do? How are we going to create the global Nikkei community that we started to talk about this morning? But I want to give a caveat for both myself and Alex. As we mentioned, this is our first time at COPANI. We have been very involved with our communities, our Nikkei communities in the United States and in Canada. But we're both very new to the global Nikkei community. So please be patient with us. I can speak English and Japanese, a little bit of Japanese. So I apologize I cannot speak in Spanish or Portuguese, as so many of you can. But I think it's a good example as to the kinds of bridges that we're going to try to build today together. Even if we don't speak all the same language, we can create plans together on how we can create a more unified young person's community. That's our goal for this afternoon. Sound good? Yeah. Bien? Thank you. Okay. All right, so we're going to be doing two things this afternoon. We're going to have a quick, in English we're in the States we say an icebreaker, or just an opportunity for us to get to know each other. We're going to share a story. And then later in the afternoon, we're going to break up into small groups, and we're going to talk about different aspects or different parts of being Nikkei, and how we want to work together on those different topics. So the first thing that we're going to do is a small activity here. Okay. So to my friends who are English speakers, just follow along with what I'm saying. We're going to display all the slides in Spanish. Sorry, we don't have great translation or interpretation capacity today. So what we're going to do, I know everyone just sat down, but if you can stand up and move to the side of the room. You don't have to bring your stuff with you. You can leave your bags where they are. Okay. So, real quick before we do this, do people understand what I'm saying generally? Can I get some nods? Yes. Again, I'm sorry that my language is so limited. But please be patient. Thank you. Thank you. So before we begin, I just want to give a quick announcement, and that is that we have a wonderful cameraman with us today. You want to introduce yourself real quick, just so we know?
Hi, Hideki.
Hideki?
From San Francisco.
Yeah. So like the other COPANI workshops that we're having, he's going to be filming so that we can share what we do today with people who could not be here in San Francisco. So just a heads up on that. We are not collecting your personal information. We will not be using them for anything after this other than to share with other COPANI people. Good. Okay. Thank you. So, Maybe you are standing next to someone who you know, someone who speaks the same language as you. You would like to mix it up. Okay? So for this activity, if you can find someone across the room who you do not know, what we're going to do is once we pair up, we're going to each share a story, or if you have a photo on your phone, you can share that photo. But the idea is that we're going to tell each other the story of how we realized, how we knew that we're Nikkei. So we did a little bit of this morning if you were here this morning, but we're going to switch it up. I really want it to be a story. Just talk about your story, a time that you can remember, if you feel comfortable. Does that make sense? Yes. Okay, so we're going to take a little bit behind. I think it'd be great if you could take about 15 minutes to do this. I'll give you a heads up when we have 5 minutes left. Please feel free to take your time. Tell as many stories as you like, as many stories as you feel comfortable telling. This is just a way to get to know each other. Okay? Wakarimashita ka? Okay, let's go. Great. Also, I want to apologize that it is so hot in here. I know it's very hot. We have 2 fans on. What we're going to do next is we're going to break up into groups, and we're going to do a small activity. And the person who's done this activity, who's really good at facilitating this, is Alex. So I'm going to turn it over to her.
Thanks, Kota. Okay, so we're going to do a small group workshop. And so the point of this is to create together an infographic demonstrating our shared values and goals as Nikkei. So how this is going to work is we're going to do it in 3 stages. You guys will be broken up into groups, and we have certain themes. So one group will get a different theme. And then in round 1, what you're going to do is you're going to think of all the words or small phrases that come to mind when you think of that theme. And everyone will have an opportunity to share. Anything that comes to mind, just kind of draw a line from your main theme and just add all the different words. In the second round, we're going to take each word that you've written down and think about your shared values or goals for each word. And then the third round is going to be an action step. So how can we work together to achieve that goal? And also want to keep in mind at this stage, trying to think about how to engage the youth at this stage as well. Because it's one thing to have a goal and to have an action, but if you don't have a way to engage the youth at that step, that's a big missed opportunity. So I'm going to go through an example quickly to kind of get a sense for it. So in round 1, so you're going to, here's an example of the theme of culture. So you would think of all the different words that come to mind when you think of Nikkei culture. So I picked food as an example, but it could be odori, it could be language, it could be taiko. There's so many different things that come to mind when you think of Nikkei culture. So you're going to think of all the different words. And then the next round is going to be for each word, shared value or goal. So I chose, one of them is to learn my grandparents' recipes when it comes to Nikkei food, because I know in the Canadian community, a lot of things are kind of missed and they're not brought down to the younger generation. So that would be one of my goals. Another one would be to learn Nikkei recipes from other countries. So it'd be really cool to learn kind of the Nikkei-inspired food recipes that come out of different countries. So those are some examples of different goals that I would have pertaining to that specific word. And then on the third round, you're going to think of an action item of how to achieve that goal and how to engage the youth. So for example, to learn my grandparents' recipes, an action step would be to have an intergenerational cooking class that you could hold at your local community center. So maybe you encourage your grandparents to come, or your family members, or your siblings to come, and you can all cook together and learn a recipe that's being passed down from the generations. And how to engage youth would be to encourage them to come and that you can eat what you make, because if you're saying that there's going to be food, I'm going to be there. And I think a lot of other youth can say the same. To learn Nikkei recipes from other countries, a good action step would be to have maybe every month have a different country host a cooking class. And we could have them online, we could have a database of them, we could do them live online. And that would be a great way to engage the youth, especially in modern technology now. And I know in Canada, we hosted a Strawberry Daifuku online cooking class where we encourage the youth to cook together and come together and learn a recipe. So that's kind of an example of how it's going to go. And we have 5 different themes. So the first one's going to be arts and culture, which is going to be in the small classroom, which is just behind me here. And what we're probably going to do for that one is, and also identity, which is going to be upstairs. We're kind of thinking those are probably larger themes. So we're going to have a larger group go, and they'll do the first round where they all work together to come up with different words. But then in the second round, when you're starting to think of specific shared values and goals, we're going to actually split the group up, and you guys can just take half of the words and the other group take the other half of the words, and then we can kind of work together. We have activism as another one. We have business/entrepreneurship in the Nikkei community, and then we have history and heritage as the other theme as well. And then the idea is that we can come together at the end and we'll be creating a giant infographic with all of these different values that we have as Nikkei, but also how to achieve those goals together in a perfect Nikkei global group. So I think we're going to try and split up groups. Yeah? Yeah, so if there's a theme in particular that you want to do, maybe just move on to a different space. So identity is going to be upstairs. There's a staircase just around the corner here. So identity will be upstairs. We have culture, arts and culture in this more small classroom over here. We can do business over here, and entrepreneurship. We'll do activism here, and then heritage and history in that corner there. So we'll try and keep the groups maybe like 6, 6, 6, and then 12 and 12 up there. Okay?
Anyone have any questions? Does that make sense? No? Okay. If you have questions, please feel free to come up to us and we can explain to you. We have how much time do we have?
Well, I'll do 15 minutes for the first round, and then 30 and 30.
Okay. So we'll come around after each round to tell you the times. Yes? Okay. If you have questions,
Can we look at the lines? This. Let's try working with these two. Those can be our only two. Alright, what are our other two?
About more international trade? Maybe. Like with Brazil and Japan? Try to connect those two. Nisei with...
Like export, you mean? Or?
Yeah, exports and imports, yeah?
Export?
Yeah.
What else is there?
I don't know people. It's wrong, it's wrong.
Perfect. We're like the most serious group here.
Yeah.
I think that's fair. We don't have to tell anybody else. Community. si quieren, si te sirve mejor de decir palabras en español porque te, no sé, te interpela más, puedes decirlos. I don't know if we, oh, Japanese, yeah. I thought you were, can we write them in Japanese? I was like,
No, yeah, someone else gonna make us. You said like
Also in Brazil.
That's okay. You can share just whatever part of the conversation. Yeah.
I'll sit next to you.
Our group was history. Well, we covered quite a lot of things, but yes, I agree this is a good place to start. The idea that how family, and specifically in most of our cases grandparents, begin to transmit a lot of the things we would associate with history, such as the language, religion, values and attitudes, food, traditional customs and culture, and just a lot of the, not only practical things like food and whatnot, but more the soft things of the attitude and the customs that are being transmitted that way. And of course, when we get into incarceration in camps, there's a sharp cutoff between you and your grandparents, that people with families that went through this experienced, and that means all the things connected also are interrupted, in which case you might need clubs or organizations or cultural events in order to find those things again.
So we also talked a lot about how international globalization really affected Japanese diaspora history. We talked about agriculture a lot because I was talking to a lot of Nikkei here about how their families came to work in a plantation or colonies or work, and how immigration policy kind of goes hand in hand with that. I know in America we had a lot of alien naturalization laws and the Chinese Exclusion Act, the Gentlemen's Agreement, and things like that. And the most important part of our presentation is preserving our history. So you can go to a lot of Japanese restaurants, passing on the recipes, the buildings and institutions, such as this one, and the temple we were just at, Densho website, Wikipedia's website, literature and museums. If you have time, we go down to LA, there's the Japanese American National Museum and the Go for Broke Museum. And if you're in Japan, you can go to the JICA Yokohama Museum. There's also ethnic studies / history classes, or media, videos, and then conferences like this one to talk about all our shared histories.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Someone from the arts and culture will go next? Or anyone?
So with arts and culture, we kind of use this method of just talking about the arts and culture that we each know about. And then we did this dotology thing where we put dots about the ones that we're the most passionate about. So then we came up with the 3 of festival, which includes cherry blossom, Tanabata, Aki. So we put festival as one of them. Dance was another winner here, so we have Yosakoi and Bon Odori. And then for a third one was music, which includes koto, taiko, shamisen, shakuhachi, karaoke. So then we asked our questions, what do we want as global Nikkei youth? What do we want out of these things as global Nikkei youth? So one of our team members kind of mentioned that we want it to be enjoyed worldwide. We want it to be recognized and known and appreciated. And also we want to create more of a fusion. Well, we recognize that we all have like a fusion culture around all of these arts and cultural things. So then we kind of went into what challenges do we have for dance. One of the LA youth said that the 5th and 4th generation don't really feel in touch with that. Or you could talk more about that part.
So yeah, each or the people in our group, we from different countries, we had different problems. Us in the U.S., like we're all pretty spread out, and then like as we talked about earlier, the 4th and 5th generation, the later generations, we're starting to lose touch with the Japanese side, and so our challenges were more like encouraging them to like, get in touch with that side of yourself, like go to more festivals, maybe be more involved in like cultural stuff, like join your local taiko group, or do odori or something, take some classes. A lot of Buddhist churches in LA have that, just stuff like that. But that was what.
And then we also had another member from Paraguay that was talking about, how the specific, like the different communities will have their own dancing activities, but he felt like they were separated from one another, so he wanted to see them come together more. So then we kind of developed more into this idea of like the youth could be the ones to connect. And then we kind of talked about how it could be more, more connected to our youth culture too. How bon odori and odori can be connected to, whatever is happening where we're at. So then that kind of like connected into music as well. We're talking, some of the Nikkei youth, they have more modern rhythms in their taiko and like hip hop rhythms in their taiko. And then, so we're talking about how we can maybe have like a global event where it's kind of like a odori competition, but not a competition, more like a showcase and like workshops. We teach each other, show our progress of the year, how we came up with something different. But then we realized that it's bigger than just dance. So then we connected a festival, that we all have festivals in our respective communities. So we kind of started talking about, well, what's special about each one of our festivals? What's different? And then, it was very interesting to hear about how in Brazil, they have local farmers and local artisans come out and showcase their work and their awesome food and produce, and how in Paraguay they have Japanese fusion food. So then we're like, you know what, we want to know more about each other's festivals. So we came up with this concept of a global Nikkei festival. A fun festival, and every year it's in a different country. So we get to experience the way that we experience our arts and culture festivals. So that's
That's a great example of like a concrete step that we can take. We can have something like a global Nikkei Matsuri or something like that, right? Cool, great idea. Business and entrepreneurship.
Brian or Leo?
I can make it read. Come on.
Okay. So our theme was business. So we started off with, the thing that Nikkeis have the biggest challenge most is their cultural identity, and as well as learning the language, right? That is probably the first challenge of a Nikkei next to their actual ethnicity. So our first goal was communication and multilingualism. And our goal was to remove the cultural barrier. In order for us to achieve that goal, of course, you have to be multilingual. So learning the language was the first core component in order for business to happen, for Nikkei to become one. So our end goal or action is to implement more exchange programs, as well as to even have sponsored exchange programs, because even the programs we talked about in Brazil, Turkey, Paraguay, they're not funded. You have to cough up money, and unfortunately that's the reality of it. So, how do we get those fundings? And that's the core business with the Nikkei community as well as the government. The other one we're doing is export and import, trades. This is North America, this is COPANI. It's all about international business. So we had two ideas. Dealing business with the Japanese and the Japanese style. We have to be accustomed to how we cater to dealing with Japan. But as we forged that and having mutual acknowledgement of each other's culture, we stopped trying to make an action plan for that, and instead we changed it to inter-Nikkei business. Because for us, being in North America and Latin America, we feel like, those that are passionate about, the bloodline and also dealing with those that understand us, we made a goal and made an action. Is that action or goal? Goal. To attend COPANI. COPANI, I've met so many people here, and I've, done business with some guy named Shun from one of the ramen noodle businesses, and I thought that was a fantastic opportunity. So yeah, but of course with the action with that would be parental suggestion. Without the parents, these Nikkei would not be able to, be pushed towards the right direction, as well as more young Nikkei, programs here. There's about two, the one in the morning here this Saturday, and the one right now. There needs to be more programs for us to have an incentive to come to these COPANI events. One was sustainability. Young Nikkei needs to be involved with business strategies when it comes to businesses. They need to be more involved with human resource and etc. And here, okay, Akira will be mentioning entrepreneurship. That's fine. Let's skip there really quickly. Yeah, you got it.
Okay. We also talk about entrepreneurship. So for that, we're saying that as a goal, we need to help the young ones to be able to make their own companies or businesses. Right? So as a action, actually we have no ideas for action. I don't know why we have only raise capital there. But what we wanted to add there is that, for example, one is raise capital, so we can lend to them and help them jumpstart the business. So for this
action,
the red one is for the youth. And I say that the idea for this goal is so that we can help the Nikkei youth community to become businessmen. That's it.
Cool. We're going to move over to identity and activism, and I'm super sorry to these two groups. I just want to make sure that we get out of here on time and respect the hosts that we have today. So we want to keep these very, very brief. Okay, you're good until we have to start until 3:30. That was the way. Thank you.
Miyako, do you want to summarize or?
Go, man.
¿Cómo sería? Porque hasta ahora hemos hablado completamente en inglés. ¿Cómo sería de presentar en español? ¿Les parece?
Sí.
Dale, tenemos ese tema de identidad y más o menos y familia. Y para el lenguaje, muchas personas estaban diciendo que es importante de compartir experiencias entre uno y otro, aunque sí no habla, no sé, no habla inglés, no habla japonés, español, lo que sea. Otros estaban diciendo que es importante para pasar la cultura a sus hijos, sus nietos, y de preservar las palabras que usamos cada día, que esos son todos en japonés y yo no hablo japonés, pero no sé cómo, sí. Y entonces pasos de acción que escogimos sería como hacer eventos como así, como COPANI, o eventos sociales que tienen algún como intercambio de lenguaje en que, no sé, vos aprendes japonés y yo aprendo portugués o algo así. Y tenemos conversaciones. En términos de pasar la cultura, algo para de como reanudar las tradiciones que hemos perdido sería importante, y también describir lo que queremos preservar y pasar a nuestras generaciones que siguen.
Y otro de los temas que tocamos fue cómo es que nosotros somos una mezcla entre nuestro respectivo país de origen y la parte japonesa. Hablamos mucho, en nuestro grupo teníamos gente que venía de Paraguay, de México, de Chile y de Alemania, y pues hablamos un poco de cómo es que bueno, ya tercera, cuarta generaciones, muchos ya no se parecen a Japón, o sea, o tienen que parecen no tan japonés de cara, pero se sienten que son Nikkeis, o sea que pues pertenece como a este biculturalismo, o esta mezcla entre dos culturas, y como goals, como goals, pues queríamos demostrar y aprender cómo es que nosotros podemos aceptarnos como somos Nikkeis, ser proud, orgullosos de cómo es que se mezcla la cultura, y una solución de soluciones de lo que hablamos fue que se participara en este tipo de eventos, que es como la COPANI, los intercambios que se hacen en cada de los países de Latinoamérica, y poder hacer ese como intercambio cultural. Y la otra cosa es poder abrir esos espacios para que la gente como nosotros, como estamos haciendo aquí ahorita, vamos a convivir y compartir estas ideas y ver que no estamos, somos los únicos que quizá enfrentamos esa como biculturalismo, y saber y romper esas barreras que luego vemos entre diferentes.
And lastly, activism. Carolyn, just to kind of show them what we've done, and just so you guys can take a look and think of actions you can bring back.
That were thought of today, that you all came up with, really good concrete ideas. So I just want to give you that heads up. So like Alex said, if you would like to see the digitized version of all of these things that we all came up with, please add your name and contact information. Before we leave and wrap up, I did want to turn things over to our hosts, the organization who has this building, to share a little bit about what this building is, what they do, opportunities
Joseph, go ahead.
Just a little bit. Yeah, hi guys, thank you so much for coming. My name is Joseph Sugoi. I work here at the Japanese Community Youth Council. We are celebrating our 50th anniversary next year in 2020, so it makes us actually the oldest nonprofit Nikkei organization in SF, Japantown, founded after World War II. So we've had a long history here, and I hope while you are here you get to check out various Nikkei organizations. I left a bunch of promotional materials in the back if anyone wants further information about what we do. We run a pipeline of Nikkei-oriented programs starting from a summer day camp all the way up to a college-age internship program. So please reach out to me. I left my card back there as well if you have any questions about how to get involved here in the Bay Area. Thank you so much.
So, folks, if you want to look at some of the posters, feel free to do that. You know, meet some more people if you like, but we're going to slowly start making our way back towards the Buddhist temple. So thank you all so much. This is all because of you. Oh, can we thank Joseph real quick because he helped us set up for today. You were very patient. I can only speak English, and I'm so sorry that I can only do that. Everyone else can speak so many languages. So thank you for working with Alex and I. This is a really great project for us to do. So we hope to work together a little bit more in the future. Okay? Thank you, everyone.